They will say that I have shed innocent blood. What's blood for, if not for shedding? With my hook for a hand, I'll split you from your groin to your gullet.
Your house is a fine little house, Jack.
Are you allowed to speak along the way? I was thinking there might be rules.
Let me put it this way. Very few make it all the way without uttering a word. But do carry on merrily. Just don't believe you're going to tell me something I haven't heard before.
Oops, that was maybe a mistake.
What was maybe a mistake?
Me getting in this car with you. You might as well be a serial killer. Sorry, but you do kind of look like one.
I feel like screaming. I definitely think that you should. Nobody wants to help!
Fame makes a man take things over. Fame lets him loose, hard to swallow.
Mind if I take a look in the van, please, sir?
I'd be a bad guy if I said no. Some people claim that the atrocities we commit in our fiction are those inner desires which we cannot commit in our controlled civilization. So they are expressed instead through our art. I don't agree. I believe heaven and hell are one and the same. The soul belongs to heaven and the body to hell. When I think about all the things I've done in my life without in any way resulting in punishment.
What's going on YouTube? This is the Dread Emperor, and this is the Black Hole Review. Now, obviously, as the title and the trailer I added at the beginning implied, we are discussing a very, very special film today. And the reason why this film is special is because of who directed it, which is Lars von Trier. This film, to some extent, is a brutally honest and raw depiction of what it would be like to have a serial killer, to have just unlimited time to discuss with the serial killer their murders and what they perceive of those murders intellectually in their mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, this movie is a deep dive into the mind of a sociopath, of a serial killer, and it's a dialogue between a figure that we don't see and the serial killer portrayed by Matt Dillon, who plays Jack. So the movie starts off with Matt Dillon's character Jack basically saying, "Am I allowed to speak along the way?" And basically you hear of the voice of an older gentleman basically say, "You can say what you like. Usually people talk on the way down here." And then the movie starts with Matt Dillon explaining 5 different murders that he's committed over the course of 12 years throughout his life as a serial killer. And this movie is extremely disturbing. It is. There's really, the deaths depicted in this film are, in a sense, like the Joker movie, right? And I use the Joker movie because a lot of people will say, well, why are people crying about the Joker when the violence in the Joker wasn't even as violent as like 300? But 300 also had 5-year-old kids killing giant frost wolves. So the violence depicted in there is not really taken seriously because, I mean, it's not an honest depiction of reality. However, the Joker was a completely honest depiction of reality with that Joker character. So when he did commit the murders, it was disturbing in contrast to a movie where there's like 100 people getting slaughtered, but it looks absolutely fake. You see what I'm saying? And there's no reality to it, and people are making dumb decisions and shit like that. You don't really care, right? So like a Saw trap, you know the shit's ridiculous. So the violence in Saw is not, for some people who have a high tolerance, nobody cares. You know what I'm saying? But with this movie, it's depicted in a very real way. So when he starts these murders and he actually murders these people, what's even more worse than the murders is the aftermath, because there are some gruesome fucking images in this movie and really uncomfortable shit, like somebody basically being suffocated to death, being strangled to death. But the way it's depicted, it's too real. It feels too real. You see what I'm saying? Like with the Joker murders, like when he strangled his mother, that just felt too real. You know what I'm saying? And this is the case with this movie. A lot of these murders that happen feel very, very real. And some of the things he does with these bodies afterwards are really fucking disturbing. And this movie has surprisingly low ratings, but it's Lars von Trier's films are like always 50-50. 50% hate it, 50% absolutely love it and think it's a masterpiece. Where do I fall at in that category? I'm nowhere near hating it, nowhere near a masterpiece, but this is definitely an amazing fucking artistic expression from Lars von Trier. If you don't, I would call this is an art house film. It's an art house film that's a slow burn, but when you realize it's slow burn, you're caught off guard, because the way that the movie is progressing, it's happening slowly, but it's all happening. The pacing is great because he's telling the story. First incident, murder happens. Second incident, murder happens. Third incident, murder happens. Fourth incident, and then the movie goes into a whole nother fucking place, and it is a very slow burn from that point. That last 20 minutes of this movie is fucking amazing. One of the greatest fucking visual experiences I've had watching a movie. I'm gonna just say that. Matt Dillon, who plays Jack, he plays this character so fucking well. Like he is amazing. This is my favorite performance from him. I haven't really followed his career that much, to be honest. I mean, he's never at the top list of my favorite actors, but with this performance, he definitely earned a spot in my fucking list of top actors because he plays this role so goddamn well. And he's hilarious, he's disturbing, he's pretentious as fuck. And let's be real, a lot of people have issues with Lars von Trier being pretentious as fuck. But half of those people trying to explain why being pretentious is horrible and people, oh, you're pretentious, you're pretentious. Half of those people's explanations of why people are pretentious as fuck. Lars von Trier, this movie isn't pretentious. So basically, yeah, Matt Dillon plays Jack. He's trying to build a house and he's very unsuccessful at it and he keeps breaking it down. And this is what he's doing before we get into the first incident. He's basically a failed architect, a failed artist, and he picks up a woman and she pretty much berates him and says like, oh, yeah, this is like definitely like out of a serial killer book or whatever. Like, you're definitely going to kill me. If you could kill me, you could just dump my body over there and blah, blah, blah. So basically, she's pretty much egging him on. And then she's like, never mind, you wouldn't kill me. You're too much of a pussy, basically. And then we get into the first murder. And then we get to the next murder. And then we see basically him go from this pre-master serial killer, right? Before he's mastered his craft, before he actually gets the title of serial killer, right? So the baby steps it took before Charles Manson became Charles Manson, along the lines of that. So that's what we're watching. And essentially, we see him go from this early serial killer to where he has OCD. And this is where the humor comes in. Because he has OCD, once he kills one of his victims, he keeps going in and out of the fucking house, cleaning shit, because in his mind, he's seeing bloodstains on the corner of a painting or at the bottom of a couch. And he just, even when the cop cars are coming, he keeps going back into the fucking house. And it's so fucking hilarious. But We also see like the way he perceives his victims, because he begins to talk about how stupid people are. And then in contrast to the way he views them, we have Verge, who brings reality. I mean, how basically, so Jack is basically boasting about how superior intellectually he is to all of these humans he's killing, all these people he's killing. And in contrast to his views of the people he's killing, Verge comes in and just goes straight into reality. You're not really that intelligent. It just seems like the people you're killing aren't that smart. Like, you see what I'm saying? He's just like playing that devil's advocate. During the movie, you see these images whenever he goes on his ramblings about why he's so great and how his art is this and that. At the end of the day, he's just a failed fucking architect. And he's not all of these great things he's placing in his head. That's what he wants to be. But because he failed at the only thing he really wanted to do was be an architect, then that's when he started killing. So essentially, he's none of what he says he is. He's not anything close to what he thinks he is. And Verge is right there the whole time with each incident. He's explaining the intricacies of how superior he is intellectually. Verge is just there like, you're a joke, bro. You're pretentious as fuck. You don't know what you're talking about. And he's just going ham on him. And the entire movie, there's a sequence when he first finds the place where he's gonna stash all of his bodies that he starts murdering. And it's like some old abandoned warehouse with a freezer in it that's still active. So his first murder, he's trying to open this door that's locked. And he can't get into it. And the entire film, while he's going through these incidents, he keeps going back to this door trying to open it. And he can't fucking do it. But I'm gonna tell you this, once he finally opens that door and we get into this art house slow burn that is so fucking satisfying when you see it, and so deserving of a fucking character like Jack that Matt Dillon portrays, it really fucking brings the movie together full circle. And a lot of people complain about Lars von Trier's films. I mean, he does make very tough films to watch. Not because he has bad writing, not because he's a bad producer. It's because he's so brutally honest with what he does. And this film is no different. He depicts, there's child murder scenes in this movie that haunt me just thinking about it. There is a sequence where, I believe it's the third incident. And once so the movie's pretty disturbing all the way up until that third sequence. But once you hit that third sequence, you realize that this director is not afraid of anything with his movies. And if you don't like his films, then at least you can appreciate the fact that he is a honest artist and that he is showing you very raw and brutally honest depictions of reality. Because no matter how we like to surround ourselves with happy things, at the same time, the world is a beautiful place, but at the same time, there is a lot of mad, macabre shit happening. And Lars von Trier is not actually out there doing it. He's showing you in film, and he has a message, and he has something to say. He's an artist. You can walk into a room full of Picassos and be the only one there that sees beauty in that art. Or you could be, which is usually the majority of people, why the fuck this painting cost $10,000? All he did was just fucking do this. You see what I'm saying? It's perception. This movie might be pretentious to a lot of people. To me, it's not really pretentious. It's just a man trying to express himself. And sometimes our opinions and the things that we want to say, other people don't understand because our experiences as human beings are unique with each individual. Not every single expression can be understood by everyone. And I'm not saying I'm in some elite class of intellectuals. I don't understand some of the shit he was talking about in the movie. I don't. I really don't. But even if you look at this movie and you get past all the pretentious bullshit and symbolism and just take it as a straightforward movie, like, okay, everything that's happening, there's no meanings behind it. Let's just watch it beat by beat by beat. Still fucking satisfying. And it might work better for you to view it that way. Because I see it both ways. I can take this in a literal way of what's happening, especially with that third act, that a lot of people will call pretentious, but I just say that it's homage to a story that he probably liked when he was a youth. And it's a very famous painting. I don't want to say what it is, but I'm pretty sure you probably already know. But I'm gonna just say that there is a heavy influence of Dante's Inferno in this movie. The story of Dante's Inferno and Virgil taking Dante through hell. I'm gonna just say that. There is a great influence of that in this fucking movie. And like I said, that pretty much sums up the movie, and it's so fucking gratifying and reassuring, and it's a really, to a lot of people, the movie's really dark and bleak and violent, but to me, it was a fucking happy ending. Anytime a villain, somebody who's absolutely despicable and just so fucking full of themselves that you just want them to die, the ending of this movie is great. It's really great. And I give this movie, it's really hard to grade, you know. I'm not gonna grade art house films. If I've done it on my previous films, if I covered any films that were art house, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna just say that this movie is highly recommended for people who like disturbing movies, for people who like art house films, for people who just want to venture out of the normal horror, typical Hollywood horror movie. Then I say that this movie is for you. However, if watching really disturbing movies isn't your thing, I probably wouldn't watch this. It's not extremely disturbing, but there's just really gruesome imagery, and there's really gruesome imagery with a kid. Really fucking horrible shit. If violence against kids and animals, there's a scene that is pretty fucked up. If you don't like violence towards any animals or children, probably should stay the fuck away from this movie, because it's not for you. That's not what the entire movie is. It's just one sequence of child murder, one sequence of animal murder, and then the rest is pretty much him just murdering women. Yeah, this is a very difficult film to review. I definitely say I love this movie, and I absolutely am nowhere near hating it. But it's just something about it that doesn't put it up there at the A-list for me. But like I said, I'm not gonna grade it. Lars von Trier is fucking amazing. Matt Dillon's performance is fucking amazing. Uma Thurman is also in the film for a short time. That's pretty much the only other actor that I can recall. Yeah, this is a great movie. Definitely worth your money. Definitely worth you buying it if this sounds like something you want to watch. Like I said, the pacing is excellent. The acting is phenomenal. The gruesome imagery, the gruesome imagery is amazing. Practical effects, and even when they do get into special effects, it is a very, very wonderful thing to watch. And it has a satisfying fucking payoff. And it's almost, it's the movie, the way the violence happens in the movie is you think it's not a slow burn because shit's happening and it's bleak and it's dark and it's macabre and it's gruesome. And then a mini slow burn, and then a slow burn is added at the end. Like a little micro slow burn. 15 or 20 minutes of a slow burn. A satisfying one. And I say that the slow burn of this, the climax of this slow burn is better than Hereditary's. And the climax of this slow burn is more of a payoff than it was in Mother. Do I think this movie is better than both of those? To an extent, I would say that this movie is definitely up there with Hereditary, Mother, and The Witch as far as just in that genre. I call it the art house, the slow burn art house films. And this is definitely top tier slow burn art house. And it's a slasher movie, but it's not your typical slasher. It's a slasher in the sense that Candyman isn't your typical slasher movie. Because it's a slasher movie, but it's also something more than that. It's a social commentary, and it's not like some, and it has something to say. And this slasher is a social commentary about humanity, and it has something to say. So, yeah, this is the Black Horror Review. This is the Dread Emperor. Go ahead, follow my Twitter if you want to. Like, share, subscribe. You can follow my Patreon in the link below. Thank you for your support. Peace.